Hey guys, so today we will going to see the third questions in the JavaScript interview preparation series. So this is our third video and this is the third question. So today we will see what is the difference between call, apply and bind. Okay. So the difference between call, apply and bind can be explained with below examples. So I will explain you with the given examples. So these are the notes that I have written. You may want, you can write it down. Okay, let's see first method, call. So basically call is a method by which we can invoke using a function, and in that we have to pass a reference, and then we have to pass the arguments one by one in a comma separated manner. So this is the definition. The call method basically invokes a function with a given this value and arguments provided one by one. Okay, so we will see the example. So let's say we have the objects employee1 and employee2. So in employee 1 we have the first name John and last name Rodson, and in employee 2 we have the first name Jimmy and last name Bailey. Okay, so let's say we have this function invite, which is taking two arguments, greeting 1 and greeting 2, and we are consoling the greeting 1 and then a space and this dot first name, then a space, this dot last name, then a space, then greeting 2. Okay, so let's see how we can use the call method. So by using the invite function, we can call the call method. So here we have the invite function. Using the dot operator, we can call the call method, and in that first we have to pass the reference. So I am passing the reference of employee1. See, employee1. So this is the reference I am passing. So basically call method basically expects a reference through which we can connect the method with the object. So here what we have done, we have connected the invite function, and we have connected this invite function with the employee1. Okay, and then we can pass the arguments. So invite dot call employee1, hello, how are you? So let's say, so as soon as we call this invite dot call, it will immediately call the function. So what this function will do is, in this function will take the greeting 1 and greeting 2. What this greeting 1 have, greeting 1 have hello, and this greeting 2 have how are you, because we have passed these two arguments. In the first arguments we have passed the reference of the object. So if this try to console log this greeting 1, then greeting 1 is hello, then it will print hello. This dot first name, this refers to the current reference. Okay, so what is the current reference we have? We have the employee1. So employee1 dot first name, what is the employee1 of first name? John, then it will print John. Then we have the this dot last name. So what is the this dot last name? Whom this is referring to? This is referring to employee1. So what is the last name of employee1? Rodson, then it will print Rodson. Okay, and then what it is printing? It is printing greeting 2. What is the greeting 2? How are you? Okay, now it is printing to how are you. Okay, so let's see the example in action. Let's say we have the same examples here. Now if I try to run this, okay, now if I try to run this node index.js, see here it is printing hello John Dodson, how are you? Now if I passed employee2 here, then this is referring to whom? Now this dot first name is referring to employee2. So employee2, what is the employee2 of first name? Jimmy. And what is the last name of employee2? Bailey. Okay, now if I try to run this, it will print hello Jimmy Bailey, how are you? Okay, because here we are connecting we have connected the invite function with this employee2 reference. That is why this is referring to those objects whom we have referred. Yeah, so here we have referred the employee2, that is why it is taking the first name of employee2. If we have referred the employee1, then it will take the first name and last name of employee1. Okay, so this is the call method, and by using this call method we can connect any function with any reference. Okay, so this is what the call method is. Now we will see the apply method. Apply is same to the call, but the only difference is the way we are passing the arguments. Here in apply we have to pass the arguments in an array. Okay, so see what is apply method. Apply invokes the function with a given this value and allows you to pass an arguments as an array. Here we just need to pass an arguments in an array format, the same thing. Okay, so let's see this example. If we copy this invite.apply, here what we have done the same things. We have the same object, we have the same method, but here we have connected the employee 1 as a reference, but the argument that we are passing in an array format. That's the only difference. In call we are passing the in a comma separated manner. Here we are passing in an array. So now if we go to index.js, if I comment this and if I use the apply method, if I try to run, see, it will print hello John, that's a how are you. Same thing it will print. Just the only difference is we are passing this in an array format. Here we are passing in a just a comma separated manner. That's the only difference. If I pass the employee 2, then it will print Jimmy Bailey, how are you? Okay, that's the only difference between call and apply. Okay, now we will see the bind method. The only difference the bind is bind returns a new function. Let's see the example in action. So bind returns a new function allowing you to pass any number of arguments. Okay, the same object we have, same function we have. The only difference is what this bind will do is, so by using the invite function we are binding the employee 1 and then it will return a new function. So instead of calling the function immediately, bind will not call the function immediately, it will return another function with which we can store into another variable. So invite.bind, and we have passed the employee 1, we have connected the employee 1 reference with the invite function and we have bind it, and it will return another function which we have stored in invite employee 1. Okay, and then if we want to call this function, then only invite will run. Now if we want to run this function invite employee 1 and we pass the argument hello how are you, then it will print. So earlier, like in apply here, if we call the invite.apply, it will immediately call the invite function, and the call, and in call also it is same. If we call the invite.call, it will immediately call the invite function and it will attach the employee 1 reference. But here in bind, it will not immediately call the function, it will just attach the reference of employee 1 with the invite function and it will return another function. And then if we want to call this function, then only we need to run, then only it can run. Okay, it will not run immediately. So it will return another function invite employee 1, and then if we want to call this function in invite employee 1 and we need to pass the arguments, because this invite function is accepting greeting 1 and greeting 2, that is why we are passing these arguments. Okay, so we call this invite employee function, it will run the invite function. So let's see this example in action. Okay, so let's copy paste it, let's comment that part. Let's say first I will, okay, what I have done by using the invite function, I have bind the employee 1 and it will return another function. I am storing in invite employee 1. Similar thing we are doing for employee 2 also, and I am storing in invite employee 2. Now if I want to run this function, suppose if I, so that will not immediately call the function by using the bind, but by using the call and apply, it will immediately call the function. Here we are explicitly call this function, and in call and apply we don't need to explicitly call it. As soon as we call the call method or apply method, it will call the method. Okay, but bind, it will return another function and then we need to call it explicitly. See, here it is printing hello John how are you, because employee 1 is having because invite employee 1 having employee 1 reference attached to the invite function. So that is why this dot first name it will take for the employee 1. Employee 1 have John and dot sign. Okay, now if we call the employee 2, here employee 2 contains the invite employee 2 contains the employee 2 reference, so this dot first name will be Jimmy and Bally. Okay, now if we run this, it will print hello Jimmy how are you. Okay, the same thing is happening the way we are passing the arguments in call and apply method. In bind we pass the arguments in a comma separated manner only, but it will not immediately call the function, it will return another function, and then if we want to call that method as per requirement, then we need to call it. So the best part of bind is we don't need to call it immediately. The when we want to call it, then it will call the function. Okay, so that is the only difference between these three: call, bind and apply. Okay, how you can remember it? So call and apply are pretty interchangeable. All are same in call and apply, just the way we are passing the arguments is the only difference. Both execute the current function immediately. Okay, as I already said, you need to decide whether it's easier to send in an array or a comma separated list of arguments. Okay, so as per your requirements, if you are sending as an argument, if you're sending the argument as an array, better to use apply. If you are sending the argument as in a comma separated manner, then you will use call method. Okay, you can remember by treating them: call is for comma separated, and apply is for array. You can remember like that. Whereas bind creates a new function that will have this set to the first parameter passed to the bind. So basically bind will attach your reference with your function and it will return another function. Okay, so these are the only difference between call, bind and apply. I hope this is clear for you. If there is any doubt, do post in the comment box. I will definitely reply it. Thank you for watching.